Time. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
This is Duck Insider.
Duck's going to pick it up, and here we go. Got him deep. He's open. He's got it, and he's gone.
How about that?
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
Duarte pulls up, 3-ball. Bang!
LJ Figueroa!
Oregon goes back-to-back for the fourth time in the last 6 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
Moseley 3. Goal! Moseley bomb! Mike Sewell fires and hits a 3. Left wing. Pow. Yeah, boom, boom.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
What a weekend.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Good afternoon. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, Joe Moorhead, Oregon offensive coordinator, just wrapped up talking to the media. We will jump into that here coming up in just a little while. The Oregon offensive coordinator discussing the quarterback room, the tight end position, all those wide receivers that we've heard so much about. A lot to unpack as spring football continues. Today, the Ducks were in pads for the first time for Oregon spring football. Ducks were in shells a couple days ago, now full pads. Some young guys are getting a little bit of rotation that you'll hear Joe Moorhead talk about in a moment. Also, earlier this week, Penei Sewell met with the media. That's right. I think Penei Sewell is a once-in-a-lifetime talent on the offensive line. He talked about his pro day for the Ducks, and we're going to hear a little bit more from Penei Sewell coming up. Also, Alex Forsythe and Johnny Johnson met with the media today. They just wrapped up, may not get them into the system in time, but we will do our best to today. And if we do not have them for you today, we will definitely have them for you on the show tomorrow. Elsewhere, Oregon softball preparing for a huge weekend. Huge weekend for Oregon softball. The Ducks are going to play UCLA. This is a top 5 matchup between two of the best teams, not just in the Pac-12, but in the entire country. We're going to talk with Melyssa Lombardi here coming up on the show. Head softball coach for the Ducks says Jane Sanders Stadium will have some fans. I know a lot of people wondering, what's it going to look like for spring football in the spring game on May 1st? We don't know yet. Give it a little time. Some things, it's still a ways away in all seriousness because it seems like things still change by the hour here. So bear with us. I know fans are wondering, hey, is it going to be open? Are going to be tickets? What's it going to look like? We don't know yet. So bear with us. Stay tuned on that. But we can tell you that Oregon baseball and, Oregon softball, I'm choking myself up. Oregon softball will have tickets available. Oregon baseball, I understand tickets went pretty darn fast for the rivalry series this week. That's a good thing. Thank you, fans. We appreciate it. As Oregon baseball is going to play Oregon State at 7 o'clock. That's after Oregon softball plays UCLA at 5 o'clock. Both are at home. We're going to have an awesome weekend of Diamond Sports. A top 5 meeting at Jane Sanders Stadium. A top 25 meeting at PK Park between Oregon and Oregon State. Really awesome. I'll have the call for baseball. The guys at KWVA are going to have the call on the radio side for softball. And, of course, Oregon softball and Oregon baseball will both be on the Pac-12 network back-to-back for those of you tuning in on the TV side. But, as we always tell you, encourage you, sync it up, will you? You'd rather listen to us than the TV guys, right? I mean, we're rooting for the Ducks. That's what we want. You don't want to listen to them when they do features on UCLA and on the Beavs. Nobody wants that. A pair of Oregon volleyball players earning some conference honors as Gloria Mutiri and Brooke Yanez were voted all-conference in the 2021 spring season by the league's coaches. Carson Bacon and Georgia Murphy also earned honorable mention recognition. That Ulmer squad will play in the postseason tournament beginning next Thursday. Will be their first match. They will play the winner of next Wednesday's match between Army and Notre Dame. Stay tuned on that. We'll have more coming up on the show throughout the course of the week. Brooke Yanez also met with the media talking Oregon softball. We'll hear from her on the show. And the editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com, Rob Mosley, normally joined us yesterday, but we had so much stuff yesterday. I asked Rob, hey, do you mind sliding today? And he was like, oh, yeah, no problem. So we're going to talk to Rob today. It's not a normal Wednesday without Rob Mosley, but we're going to do it. We got a lot of stuff in yesterday, just like we're going to get a lot of stuff in today. And we begin hearing from Joe Moorhead, the Oregon offensive coordinator. I'm just going to get out of the way and let ball coach Mo talk, as Joe Moorhead met with the media talking about all kinds of things on the Oregon offense, updating you on spring football. Joe Moorhead.
Joe, just give us an update on each of the quarterbacks now that the composition of the room is a little different.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of ability and talent in the room. AB's got the guy with the most experience and productivity on this level, so he's doing a real nice job. Digesting the information, taking it on the field, and being real productive. With Robbie, Butter, and Ty. Those guys are all relatively inexperienced. A couple of them have a season under the belt, and Ty's an early enrollee. So for them, everything's kind of a new learning experience, particularly with our first spring ball. But once again, all guys who can throw, all guys who can run, all guys who are smart and digest it. And with Robbie, he's, you just got to tip your hat to him that he's able to kind of, run back and forth, from football to baseball and be playing well in both of them. I think that's a credit to him.
Joe, how important is this spring, not just for some of the younger players, but for the returners as well, considering you guys didn't get that full spring last season?
Yeah, I think it's critical, a critical phase in our development, as we move forward to the next season. And, we only had 4 opportunities last spring in a truncated fall camp. And, like I said, with the installation of a new offense and a bunch of new guys up front and a new guy behind center, that had, created some challenges. I think we were able to, attack very well. And then, now I look at this as 15 opportunities for us to continue to grow as an offense, grow as a position unit. And I think the guys are doing a nice job taking advantage of those opportunities.
Joe, each quarterback competition every spring is probably a little different. Have you had any similar to this where you've got one guy with a lot of experience and then 3 really, I think, young, talented guys with no experience? Is this drawing any comparisons to any other spots you've been in the past?
This is year 23 or 24. So I'm sure there was one along the way, but yeah, the situation where there's an incumbent and guy with a ton of experience and a ton of production, and really, really below them, just a bunch of young guys who really need every rep that they can get, to help maximize their ability. And, they've all been growing with each practice, and Brad Yaff adds a lot of value to our room as well. So I'm sure there have been some, but, everyone is a little bit unique in and of itself.
You have a unique situation at wide receiver, obviously with a group of super seniors with so much experience leading the way, and then some of the highest ranked recruits in program history at that position. What does that competition look like early on?
Yeah, that's a new term, super senior. I've not heard. That's for the guys coming back. I like it. All right. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. A bunch of guys that are, upperclassmen with a bunch of experience and productivity, and meshing that together with guys who have been here and maybe haven't seen the field as much, and certainly, not just a receiver position, but across the board, skill and line. Those mid-year enrollees, I mean, it's critical in their development, getting the spring practices, getting the strength and conditioning, and then having all the summer and fall camp, having those guys be a step ahead. So they're continuing to push each other. The older guys are helping the younger guys, and that speaks to the culture of the program, to have competition, but still working to be good teammates. But yeah, we're definitely excited about both the returnees and certainly the incoming guys as well.
Aside from quarterback, you've got almost every guy back, a lot of experience. I guess, what do you typically expect in a year 1 to year 2 jump and improvements in your offense? What are you hoping to see from a jump standpoint? Yeah,
I don't think you necessarily put a tangible number on it relative to points or yards or things like that. But, at this stage of the season, we just want to see an improvement from practice 1 to practice 2 and still on down the line through 15. And then we'll get into our, summer program when they're on their own. And then we'll hit fall camp, keep working to, maximize those opportunities. But I feel fairly confident in saying that everywhere I've been as a coordinator or a head coach, that there's been a nice improvement from year 1 to year 2. And that, I think it goes along with talent, with their understanding of the system, some of the things that we're able to do in year 2 that, maybe you weren't able to do year 1 schematically, particularly last year with the abbreviated preparation. So just like to see them take that next big step from year 1 to year 2, individually as a unit, and hopefully that helps the team as well.
Joe, I know the Fiesta Bowl didn't go quite how you guys had anticipated, but that's really some of Anthony's only experience in this offense, getting reps. What were you able to take away from his Fiesta Bowl performance? Yeah, he had threw a couple touchdowns in the USC game in abbreviated time, so I thought that was a good start to it. But in his first extended time, I think his first full drive was when we were backed up, whatever it was, at the -1 or -2, and we went 99 yards, scored a touchdown, and got us into
field goal range the next drive. But, he's a very cool, calm customer. He's a guy who's played a lot of football. He's a guy who's extremely intelligent and has a lot of ability as a thrower and as a runner. So it's not like this is a guy that we brought in and hadn't played elsewhere. I mean, he had 50 touchdowns on his resume and a bunch of passing yards and a lot of wins. And big wins at that. So, I'm very excited to work with Anthony in his last year eligibility. And I think he's really seizing the opportunity and understands the urgency that's required of this position.
What does Robbie's skill set look like at quarterback? And then just with some of the athleticism that we've seen from him just playing baseball this year, is he a guy that could potentially play a different position for you guys down the road?
No, that hasn't been discussed. Robbie's a quarterback, but the first thing you look at him in the football uniform or on the diamond, he's a big, physically imposing guy. 6'3", 6'4" plus. Pushing 235 pounds, can run like the wind. He's got a very strong arm. Like any young guy, it's really the ability to digest the information of what we're doing and how teams are attacking us and how that all goes together on the practice field, and it happening in a very small amount of time. As it pertains to decision making. So every meeting, every rep, every practice, we're seeing Robbie get a little bit better. And like I said, it's a credit to him that he's able to, perform well during spring ball and also, help Coach Waz and the baseball team out as well.
With Troy and Dante, I know you like to start guys at one spot, Joe. So is one at the X and one at the Z? I mean, they're similar body size and they lend themselves to the outside, but are they on the outside or is one at the Y or how you lining them up so far?
They're both working outside receiver positions right now. Dante at the X. I'm sorry, Troy at the X and Dante at the Z. But with certain formations, they'll get work at the at the other spots. And Coach BMAC does a good job with everybody cross training guys. So necessarily, it's not the next guy at that position maybe that goes in with the next best guy. So yeah, to answer your original question, James, they're both starting outside right now.
With Sean out and Trey out and a couple of guys yet to enroll, it sounds like it's CJ, Travis, and Cross in terms of like traditional running backs you guys have. Who else is filling in there? Mario mentioned there might be a couple guys from different position groups that have kind of helped you at running back right now because you're in a pinch. Yeah,
Tevin Janis is done a real nice job, kind of filling in some reps there, and we brought in and Coach talked about a good young walk-on guy now that it's joined us recently, so he's doing a good job with limited time in the meetings room, and he took a bunch of reps today. So certainly with CJ and Travis and Cross have been here, and those guys, Coach Master's doing a great job rotating them, and then Tevin and the new guy are doing a good job too.
Your thoughts at tight end? DJ is back with experience, but then you've got a bunch of other guys, Spencer, Patrick, and your two freshmen. Just kind of the battle that's going to play out from now until fall camp. Just thoughts of that.
Yeah, competition makes everyone better, and certainly DJ and Spence have played a pretty significant amount of ball here, and made some plays. Patrick was dinged up a little bit last year, and certainly the real young talented guys, and it's a deep and talented room, and giving those guys a ton of reps and giving them a chance to improve as blockers and make plays in the pass game. And I said Bobby's doing a great job with them, and we just got to continue to give him a ton of reps.
Where is Patrick in his development? He's obviously a guy that some fans had hoped would play with his brother right out of the gate. That didn't happen, and then injured. Where is he at right now, and what kind of talent does he have?
I think Patrick's obviously, has all the physical tools, big, strong guy, physical in the run game, he can get open and catch the ball well, very natural hands. And I think in his development, missing a little bit of time, he's just maximizing these opportunities to spring ball to improve his fundamentals and technique, the knowledge of the offense, and then making plays. So I don't say it's starting over from scratch because that's not necessarily the case, but I think you see him getting his feet back underneath him and kind of getting reaccustomed to the physicality and the speed of the game. But he's certainly a guy that possesses a lot of talent, and he'll take full advantage of these 15 opportunities.
Joe, Travis was one of your guys' best weapons last year, really just doing everything that you could have asked for him, it seems like. What are you looking to see from him as far as, his next step?
No, I think it's just a continued development of his skill set as a running back, which he did a very, very nice job. And I think you see he's a guy that can create matchup issues when he's, being covered by a linebacker or a safety. So certainly I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure we're doing the things schematically, to not just Travis, but to maximize all of our guys' abilities and put them in a position to be successful and make plays. And, he's a guy that gives us a lot of a lot of schematic flexibility in terms of where we can put him and what we ask him to do, because he's definitely a very exciting playmaker.
Just what are you looking for the next 3 practices in particular, Joe? Because Mario was saying it'll be a week from Saturday. It'll be the first scrimmage of the spring. So
yeah, we're still in installation phase right now. So we go the 2 midweek practices. We'll install, and then on the Saturday we do a review of those days, and then kind of a comprehensive review. So we'll continue doing that. Like I said, taking the information from the meeting room to the field and be able to apply it with physicality and precision. But from the quarterback position, just talking to those guys about being able to understand what we're doing and why, how we're attacking the defense, being able to produce explosive plays while minimizing turnovers, right? And then the same thing from an intangible standpoint, gaining the confidence of their teammates and in protecting the football. So those are all the things that we got to grade those guys on.
Joe Moorhead, the Oregon offensive coordinator. He met with the media today, brought to you by our friends at Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Today's show brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. Up next, it is a huge weekend at the Jane. Oregon softball head coach Melyssa Lombardi will join us to talk all things Ducks heading in to the big-time matchup with UCLA this weekend on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to relieve volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
It's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular flavor charge characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Joey Mack here with you on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Every week we get the opportunity via the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line to talk with Oregon softball head coach Melyssa Lombardi. Coach, it is great to always have you with us. You go 3-1 against a rival. That's a pretty darn good weekend. Give us the recap of what it was like up in Corvallis for your squad.
I thought we had a great weekend. I think there's obviously some things that we can improve on, but ultimately we found a way to get 3 wins. And I think to go on the road to Corvallis and to get 3 out of 4, I think that's a pretty good weekend.
Can I look back on one specific moment for you? And it's going to be one of the first moments that probably comes to mind for a lot of Duck fans, which is you got a little bit of a shot in the arm on Thursday with a leadoff run scoring. That's usually a good thing to start a series, right?
Yeah, and that's really all we needed, just for Haley to come up first pitch of the game and make it 1-0 on the scoreboard. It was huge for us. And then from there, just to rely on our defense and to rely on Brooke Yanez the rest of the way was great.
Tell us how good Brooke has been. You know, I feel like anytime that you guys have called her number, she's been ready for it.
Yeah, I think Brooke is definitely, you know, it's fun to watch athletes grow, and she's definitely growing, but just to see her really start to elevate her game in different areas, you know, whether it's strategy or the mental side of it, physically, to just be efficient with what she's doing. I really like what she's doing. I really like the confidence that she has on the mound. And it just, like I said, it's been awesome to watch her perform.
Last Thursday, a 2-0 win over Oregon State. Dropped the first game of the doubleheader 1-8, but then bounced back, won 4-0, and then on Saturday, a great conclusion in a 4-3 win. You know, I wanted to zero in, if we could, real quick on that 4-3 win. That game was very stressful to tune in for me. How stressful was it for you and your coaching staff throughout that one?
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was a tough one, but you know, we're confident in our team, and they show that they know how to grind. They show that they know how to come back. They also show that we don't have to just rely on one, that we can rely on all of them to come through in a tough situation.
How valuable is it to have gone through close games like that in the context of the larger season, Coach? I mean, there's something to be said for learning how to win, right?
I think it's really valuable. Like right now, this team is showing that they can hit with 2 strikes and score runs. They're showing that they can hit with 2 outs and score runs. They've showed that they know how to come back in tough games and that they fight through the very end. That's what I love the most, is their fight. You know, the second game of the doubleheader, I thought that was our biggest test of the weekend, because the first game, I don't think we played very well, and I think they would say the same. But how are we going to answer in the second game? And I loved their response.
You know, talking about that second game, that's a tough thing to do in a doubleheader, right? I mean, you don't have the momentum coming through from the first game. So what was it like in between games for that switch to kind of flip and you guys play better in that second game?
I think for them, it's them as a group, all of us making a decision to let that first game go, understand what we need to adjust, and get ready for the next. I think you got to leave that behind. You got to leave it in the past and move forward. And I thought that's exactly what they did. I thought they moved forward, got a clean slate, a new game, and found a way to get the W.
Yeah, I want to talk about your pitching staff in a moment, but just offensively, the depth of your offense was on display this weekend. Nice to have that depth, and how do you think that depth performed in your lineup?
Great. It was nice to see different people, like to see Maya step up, and she had a 12-pitch at bat and came through for us clutch. To see Shay come through, Rachel, you know, with a big bomb this weekend. Haley, you know, it was nice to see different athletes really just passing the bat to each other and finding a way to get it done.
You have some versatility, and we've touched on this before, Coach, but I feel like that's important, right? I mean, any team throughout the course of the year, and I feel like when you get to that midway point, every team's dealing with players being nicked up, and you do have to have some versatility on your roster, and you guys have that a little bit, don't you?
For sure. Like I said, we've had it since day one. They are not afraid to get out of position. They all ultimately, they want to be on the field and they want to play. And if it's in their spot, they're all for it. If it's in another spot, they're athletic enough to do that. So I love the versatility. You know, you don't know with injuries, you don't know with COVID. You know, there's so many different things that could happen during a season. Just to bank on one person, I as a coach, that would make me very uncomfortable.
Talking about the pitching staff, you know, we could rave about Brooke Yanez for pretty much the entire show. You know, that's how good she's been. How key was it for after McKenna Clee-Thermos has a rough outing in the one game you guys lost, to then come back and get that save in the final game? I mean, how clutch was that? How key was that for her?
Clutch. You know, she would tell you that that second day that she just, it wasn't her day for sure. But what I want to see, just like the doubleheader, is how she responds to the next day, throwing her into the fire against their, the top of their lineup, with us leading 4-3, and to be able to get out of that jam. And she did. She came right back in and got it done for us. So I think that was key for her. I think it was key for our team. That was a big, big win.
You know, in the context of the overall season, maybe you can't answer this right now, but I feel like that could be one of those moments that we look back on here at the end of the year and be like, man, that was a big moment. Like, she learns a lot in those experiences, doesn't she?
Absolutely. I think that was a pivotal moment for her. I think it was a pivotal moment for our team as well. So yes, I think it's definitely something we would look back on the season and say what that did for us as a team.
Melyssa Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach, kind enough to take some time and join us. I did want to ask you about Allie Bunker at the plate. You know, she's done a lot of different things for you in her career, and it seems like just steady Eddie is like how I can describe Allie Bunker at this point, right?
Yes, I like that. She is definitely a steady Eddie. Allie's just cool at the plate. She likes to be in tough situations. She knows how to come up clutch for us. She knows she doesn't try to do too much. She's been great.
She's hitting .386, slugging .682 with an OBP of .411 at this point in the year. I think those are good numbers. You know, that's not bad. That's pretty darn solid. All right, I want to talk with you now about, of course, the weekend ahead. We've been talking a lot about last week, but now let's look ahead. Friday, 5 o'clock, Pac-12 Network. It is Oregon, UCLA in a top 5 showdown between two Pac-12 powers. Then it's Saturday. The doubleheader begins at 1. That one's on ESPN2. The second game of the doubleheader will be on Pac-12 Network. And then on Sunday at noon, also on Pac-12 Network. So just a ho-hum top 5 matchup, Coach.
Oh, yeah. Right. No problem. We got to face them 2 times earlier this year, which was great. I think that was good for us to get to face them. UCLA is a top program. I mean, they're the defending national champions, and they're solid in all areas. So it's going to be a dogfight. We got to come out and have our best.
You guys won the first one 3-1, lost the second one 9-3. So what was the difference in those 2 games, Coach, and what can you take from those heading into this weekend?
Yeah, I think in the first game, we just our pitching and defense was solid, and we were timely with our hitting. I think the second game, we needed to be better in those departments. And then also we just, actually, I mean, the game, you look at the final score, but the majority of the game, we were in it. We didn't do enough. They were better than us that day.
I remember you and I were talking about that, how that was an example of the scoreboard maybe didn't show how close that game was. I mean, just what I feel like, though, that's something that with teams that are as good as you guys are and UCLA are, you see some of that, don't you? Like, the floodgates can open really fast versus teams like this, and you guys have done that to squads this year too.
For sure. It could be a nail biter, and then all of a sudden, you're right, the floodgate does open up. That's why you've got to be really solid with what you do for 7 innings in all 3 areas, because they're a great program. You can't kind of come in and hope to figure it out. You got to come in and get it done.
How nice is it that it's working out that this series will be played at Jane Sanders Stadium and in front of some fans? As of we're talking right now, let's just say tickets are extremely hard to come by, or they're sold out already. So fans, thank you for that. And looking forward to, even though it won't be a packed Jane Sanders, it will be officially a sold-out Jane Sanders Stadium, Coach. I mean, just how awesome is that for your program right now?
It's awesome. We've been going all year and really either playing in front of families or no one. So to get to play in front of a sold out Jane is wonderful. Like, we can't wait. I mean, our fans mean so much to us, and what they bring to the game and home field advantage, it's huge. So we're so excited for them to be at the Jane for us this weekend. We're going to need them.
How much has we've talked about before, maybe a better way to ask this question. We've talked before about how your team is very good at generating its own energy. Like, you have a very lively dugout. But there's nothing to replace a crowd, right? I mean, that's a huge home field advantage, right?
There's something about hearing that home team's crowd roar. And when we get to hear a crowd roar at the Jane, it's an awesome feeling. That's why our athletes come here. They come here because of softball, and they come here because of the fan support and how, what it's like to play in the Jane. So to have all of that this weekend is going to be huge. Our dugout does a great job of creating energy on their own, but they love feeding off the crowd as well.
Friday, 5 o'clock, a 4-game set against UCLA. Just a ho-hum. Top 5 nationally ranked teams matchup at Jane Sanders Stadium. You can tune in on Pac-12 Networks if you weren't able to get a ticket. Our buddies on KWVA will have the radio call as well on the student radio station. 1 o'clock Saturday on ESPN2, second game of the doubleheader on Pac-12 Network, and then on Sunday at noon, Oregon will be looking for a series win over UCLA. Melyssa Lombardi, thank you for always taking the time. I always really appreciate it, and good luck this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing everything happen at the Jane.
All right, thanks, Joey.
When we come back, a lot more to talk about. There's tons of sports going on. Have you noticed? We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cool day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Thanks for joining us. Our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule spotlight shining right on Oregon softball this weekend. That 5 o'clock start tomorrow. The Ducks at the Jane against UCLA. Also of note, number 2 Acrobatics and Tumbling will face number 3 Baylor in Waco, Texas. Saturday, 5 o'clock. It's a rematch of that March 6th meeting where Oregon knocked off the then top-ranked Bears at Matthew Knight Arena. Good luck to Keenan Wan and the rest of her team. I'm really looking forward to seeing Acrobatics and Tumbling season conclude, because I think the Ducks have a pretty legit chance here at the end of the season. Brooke Yanez, who has been the true ace for Oregon softball. Well, she caught up with the media yesterday. Got a little bit of that for you and some of the greatest hits of what Brooke Yanez had to say heading into this top 5 matchup between Oregon and UCLA at Jane Sanders Stadium this weekend. The Oregon lefty, Brooke Yanez.
Yeah, I think it's just something that you kind of get used to, but it's also your mentality and how you can go around those things, and especially knowing that if your teammate has got your back. And I think just those pressure situations, it kind of forces you to dial in more and focus in more and figure out just what you need to do to get the job done.
How are you feeling right now going into kind of the home stretch of the really important weekends going forward, especially against UCLA?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm excited. Whenever coach needs me to throw, I will throw. Whenever the team needs me to throw, I'll throw. So that's just kind of how the dynamic is right now. And I know my staff and we just work really well together. And when we're all working together, I feel like that's when we're most successful. So I feel like it's not just me, it's the rest of them too. And we know we have this weekend ahead of us and the rest of the weekend. So we definitely know what we need to do in preparation, whether that's recovery or mentality-wise or just practice-wise of what we need to do to get the job done every weekend.
Brooke, one thing, it looked like the way you were pitching game 1 versus that game 3, it looked like you were pitching to contact more. Was that something that you noted you wanted to do, or was that just kind of going with what the hitters were giving you? Or
I don't think there's a specific change in my approach. I just think that as a pitcher, I just take whatever path the game gives me and just trying to work through that from inning 1 to inning 7. So yeah, mentality same. I think physicality is the same. But yeah, just going whichever way the game takes me. Each game is different. So
how many pitches are actually in your arsenal?
I think we range from like, I'm not exactly sure. I would say it's honestly like 3 to 5, just because there's pitches that can go multiple directions. So I feel like that's not a different pitch, but it's just a different kind of slope or angle. And just being able to use each pitch. And I know coaches always talked about how off speed is really important. So just making sure that me and our staff just have a really great kind of spread when it comes to our pitches and pitching in games.
And how much has that helped you these past couple of weeks in particular as you've rematched with teams, particularly Utah and OSU these past couple of weekends when you've rematched with teams? And
yeah, I think variety is really important, and just knowing that one pitch shouldn't be relied on for the season or even just that game. I think it's going to take a pitcher's whole spread and whole dynamic, including our staff, just to kind of be successful in these games, knowing that these are great hitters, so that we aren't going to get by with just one pitch.
Do you intentionally hold things back your first start, or you just kind of go by feel, and if at the end of the start you've still got some things you haven't shown, you can break those out the next time you face them?
I feel like we generally just focus on each hitter and what we know that we can beat them with. So if that just happens to not include some pitches, it just might not. And if it does, then we will. But normally we just focus on our hitter specifically and not so much me and what I need to cut back on or give my full 100% on. I think we go into the games knowing that I'm going to use each and every pitch. And if that just doesn't happen, it doesn't. But the mentality going into the game is just going all out, trying to get each and every win that we can.
As you're out there, you recognize that like you're grinding, doing everything, but is there any kind of awareness? Like, I'm not 100%, I'm like, 90%.
I wouldn't say it's something that I'm crazy consider, just because, I mean, if I'm at my 80, that is my 100 for the day, and I have to use that. I think just mentality over anything is what's going to make us pitchers successful. Doesn't matter how we're feeling. I didn't really feel any different that day, and I think my mentality really came through for me on that. And I think the hitters just needed a different look, and that's why. And having McKenna come in, I think, was just a really good decision. I mean, they hadn't seen her, they saw it the day before, so I think that was really good. And what they saw was not everything that she had to give that day. So I think her coming in and being able to shut the door, that was huge.
Talking about McKenna Thermos coming in relief of Brooke Yanez to get Oregon the 2 1/3 inning save to win the series at Oregon State. That answer right there about mentality, but then also respecting her teammate, that is why Brooke Yanez is a great pitcher for Oregon softball. That right there. Love hearing from her as the Ducks will face UCLA beginning at 5 o'clock on Friday, Pac-12 Network and KWVA on the radio side. Ducks and Bruins in a top 5 matchup. Jeff asking, I am wearing a mask because Scott Phillips is sitting in here, and that is the University of Oregon safety regulation right now. As Scott said, thank you for asking, and I'm adhering to all of our policies. Up next, Rob Mosley's going to join us. He'll be wearing a mask as well. The editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Freedom, Toyota hybrids say, let's go faster and further with 10 hybrid models to choose from and tons of top tech. The best part? Every Toyota hybrid offers an extended hybrid battery warranty for 10 years or 150,000 miles. So let's go places. Toyota hybrids.
For Toyota hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and fuel cell and battery electric vehicles beginning with model year 2020. The hybrid HV battery is covered for 10 years from original date of first use or 150,000 miles, whichever comes first. Coverage is subject to terms and conditions of your new vehicle limited warranty. See owner's warranty and maintenance guide for details.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. He's Rob Mosley. Normally, I'd be saying he's joining us via the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line, but he was over for football practice today. I filmed a Quack Minute that you saw on the Oregon football social media channels already today, and so now he's here. What's up, Rob?
Hello. How are we doing?
You good? You got your Diet Mountain Dew? You ready to roll?
Yeah. I think it's your Diet Mountain Dew.
That's all right, man. We like to share.
Appreciate
the fridge is always open in the studio. In a normal year, we would go through about 25 Diet Mountain Dews in 2 weeks. Half of them were you.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I'm just doing my part.
That's right.
I'm a
Do your
team player.
part. Thank you. How's practice today?
It was good. Yeah, we were inside the Mashofsky Center, so a little different look. It was raining first thing this morning, but it stayed dry during practice, but better safe than sorry. But full pads, so they got after it. Yeah, started out with some live contact hitting, get the juices flowing, and yeah, it was pretty lively.
You said that practice, I loved the way you described it, that it just sounded different when shells were on.
Yeah.
Probably sounded quite a bit different today, too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, the very first period they went kind of a one-on-one blocking and tackling, offensive guy setting a block, defensive guy trying to get off the block and then tackle a back who's got the ball, so it's kind of a three-man drill. And, yeah, they get out, and the players love it. There's a lot of young guys, so I think that gets the roster going, too, because it's like, all right, let's see what these dudes got. So, Kingsley Suamataya, Dante Thornton, Jeffrey Bossa, throw some of those guys in there, see how they do. Those are three guys who all had pretty good reps on their respective sides of the ball, so encouraging stuff.
On Twitter, at Duck Football, at GoDucks Mosley, talking about the at Duck Football persona that you have right now. I'm curious, now through a few spring practices, I mean, does it feel more normal at football practice now than it did in the beginning of fall camp? Like, if people kind of just figured out this new way of practicing with the guidelines?
Yeah, I don't know about more normal. I mean, I think honestly, I think guys were pretty good about settling into like a routine in terms of the new normal last year. Mm-hmm. It's funny, when I've reflected on the last year with people, maybe the most normal stretch for me, quote unquote, was football season in the fall. And it was shorter than usual, and it was, it started so late, and that was different. But once we got into the routine of the season and the routine of, a game week, that's the most normal I've felt in the last year, because it was 3 months there of standard routine and, recently, we've talked about it before, but recently it's been so chaotic with the extra sports from the fall that are playing now. That hasn't felt normal. You're going 1,000 miles an hour just trying to keep up, and
we're still not keeping up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that stretch of the fall, to me, again, just has felt all along like kind of the most normal period.
Fair enough.
And I think, to the credit of staff, coaches, players, they all just sort of settled into whatever the new routine looked like. They settled right into it, and so it was only a few days into the fall that it was like, all right, this is it. We're just doing our thing, going through it.
After Saturday for Oregon football, it will already be a third of the way through spring ball.
Yeah.
The 15 practices allotted May 1st spring game. I know a lot of people wondering, is it going to be open to the public? Stay tuned on that. More details to come. Still kind of figuring things out. I feel like I can't say that enough at this point because we get the question every day, and I'm sure you do too, Rob. What have you learned about this team almost a third of the way through spring practice that you didn't know at the onset of spring football?
Well, I mean, the most striking thing the very first day was just how fit everybody looked. And I just, I don't know why that struck me, because I'm not great at year-over-year comparisons. It's not like I can have a photographic memory of what the first practice last year looked like and compare.
That's not true. Yes, you do.
But it just struck me. It was like, wow, everybody looks really fit. The freshmen that came in didn't, the guys that have been here since January, it's not like they had a little bit of bad weight on them still that they had to get rid of. Some of the skill positions guys just look really lean and muscular. Even kind of the quote-unquote skinny guys didn't look skinny. The Dante Thorntons and the Troy Franklins.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of body fat, but they got some muscle on them too, even though they're slender. So, that just struck me right off the bat. And then, just some of the depth, from those numbers of those young guys who are able to just kind of slide right in. I mean, I think that's just the biggest thing, just the number of guys who's on hand early and the value of the reps they're getting now and how just quickly it seems like they're getting up to speed. The competition over the next 3 weeks is only going to benefit from that. They're only going to benefit from that over the summer as they go through workouts. And then, the way they're going to be able to push the older guys come preseason camp. It's just going to be a lot more competitive situation than it would have been otherwise if they weren't showing up until then.
Sure. Rob Mosley's the editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Practice reports all the time for Oregon football. A lot of other things to talk about. Let's switch over to the @GoDucks Mosley portion of your life now. 2 Diamond weekends that are going to be awesome. You get a top 5 matchup at Jane Sanders Stadium starting at 5 o'clock on Friday between Oregon and UCLA. You get a top 25 matchup between Oregon and Oregon State at PK Park. Ducks have already won that series in Corvallis. Now they got to defend home turf, and there's going to be fans in the stands for both of these, which is just going to be awesome. I mean, that's a pretty big weekend for the Diamond Sports.
It is, yeah. I was first looking towards this weekend a few days ago, and I was like, oh, there's not a whole lot going on in terms of home events. And then you look at the magnitude of those series, and it's like, oh, this is a big weekend. I was talking to Josh Phillips, our digital media guy, on one hand, it doesn't feel like that big of a weekend just in terms of volume, but just in terms of the magnitude of the matchups, really, really big weekend. So it's going to be a fun weekend out at the Jane and out at PK Park. And, in both cases, victories over the opponents coming to town in non-conference situations earlier in the year that you just know that's going to flavor these matchups. There's a little bit of a vengeance element in both cases for both the UCLA softball team and Oregon State's baseball team. So it's going to be really, really fun.
What I love, too, for fans, the games don't overlap. So you're going to get a 5 o'clock start and a 7 o'clock start, softball, then baseball on Friday. 1 o'clock for the beginning of the doubleheader at the Jane on Saturday. 6:30 start for baseball at PK Park. And then finally it's going to be a noon start for Oregon softball and then a 4 o'clock start for Oregon baseball. Now, we do have tennis in action, soccer in action as well, but at least for the Diamond Sports, I think it's great that these two series don't overlap. Fans aren't always that lucky. You and I aren't always that lucky that it works out that way. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend.
There is a football practice Saturday.
There is.
Yeah, as well. So,
but that's in the morning, isn't it?
I'm planning on doing baseball Friday, Saturday, softball Friday, Sunday.
All right. Fair enough.
And then that way I can do football Saturday and then Sunday night just fall flat on my face. Yeah.
Well, hey, I get it. I understand. That's been the way that things have gone. I mean, hey, look, I'll just say this as we wrap it up because I know you're busy and you got a lot of stuff to do. We actually we're finalizing today. I'm going to start traveling with baseball again.
Yeah.
And so the light is at the end of the tunnel, Rob.
That is a good sign.
We can be pretty happy about that,
sign.
right? Right?
Sure.
We're happy? Okay. Rob Mosley.
How does Lizzie feel about that?
She
ready
feels
to get
good.
rid of you?
I think she feels great. My wife's a teacher, so her head's been spinning since, last March. So I think she's probably like, yeah, you go travel for a couple weekends. That's great.
Yeah,
I'll
clear my head.
She's pretty stoked. Are you saying that because that was a conversation in your household after she traveled a little bit?
No.
Fair enough. Are you sure about that answer? Rob Mosley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. You can find him on Twitter.
Hang out with me all the time. I'm always in such a glowing, happy, shiny, happy mood.
I've never seen you in a bad mood.
Who wouldn't want to be around that all the time?
Never seen you in a bad mood. The editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. He's on Twitter at DuckFootball, at GoDucks Mosley. Hey, thanks for the flexibility this week. Sliding back a day. It was a lot of interviews that we had yesterday.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on, man.
No doubt. No doubt about that.
You just needed a second there.
I did. When we come back, the greatest hits from Penei Sewell talking with the media, because Pro Day, we haven't even talked with you about that, but Pro Day, man, that's cool. Wishing all those guys the very, very best. We'll hear from Penei Sewell next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack. My thanks to Rob for joining us here inside the Country Financial Studio. And coming up, we got a ton of Pro Day stuff that we normally, when there isn't as much going on around the sporting landscape, we would have had these Pro Day interviews for you in full entirety, but there's been so much going on that Scott and I have had to kind of pick the greatest hits of Oregon's Pro Day. So the guys all met with the media on Monday, and if you just joined us maybe later on this week, Penei Sewell talked with the media, and he was outstanding. Scott Phillips edited some of the greatest hits to wrap up your Duck Insider today.
Have you had a contact from, well, I was about to say Oakland Raiders out of force of habit, but the Las Vegas Raiders or the San Francisco 49ers? Thank you.
Yeah, I've been in contact with a little bit both teams, more towards the 49ers. The contact's been good. The conversations have been fun.
Your favorite offensive tackle in the NFL?
Ties in with the 49ers still, and Trent Williams. Trent Williams is my favorite player right now, and the way his athleticism and power goes hand in hand is very interesting, exciting to watch.
Have you spoken to the Chargers at all? That's my first question. Second one is, the last time you suited up and played in a game, Justin Herbert was your quarterback. What would it mean for you for him to be your quarterback again if drafted by the Chargers?
I've been talking to the Chargers. Conversations have been made, and to block for her again, man, I think it's another dream and another, a vision that would be fun. Just like you said, blocking for Herbert throughout this whole time I've been here at Oregon. And to have that chance again to share the same field as him would be a dream come true.
Hey, Penei, speaking of Justin Herbert, have you had any conversations with him as far as just transitioning from college into the NFL and that NFL lifestyle and landscape?
Yeah, definitely leading into signing ages and so on and so forth. As y'all know, me and Justin are under the same agency. And so, yeah, I hit him up talking about what tips on what I need and like help me go out through this process and what to think. And yeah, and also just a friendly conversation to see how he's doing, to see how he's holding up. And yeah, a little chatter here and there about whether we'll play together or not.
Quick follow-up, how much would you like it to play if you had the opportunity to play in SoFi Stadium?
Sure, to play with Herb, I mean, would be, again, dream come true. That's my brother. The relationship that we created here when I became an Oregon Duck is second to none. And again, that's a relationship that I'll carry out throughout my whole life and to the grave. So to be able to share it again, to be able to share the field with Justin Herbert will mean a lot.
Yes, Penei, have you talked with the Falcons, and would it be an honor to go at 4?
Yeah, I've talked with the Falcons, and yeah, it'd be an honor to go wherever. But yeah, definitely, if I went that early, it would eliminate a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty in my mind. But wherever I go, yeah, it'd be fun.
Could you describe for the folks in Atlanta what your game is like and how you like to play along the offensive line?
I like to play real physical. I like to use my body type to my advantage and to really get up in under people's chin and to really showcase my mentality also to go along with my physicality, that I'm coming off the ball every play with violent intentions and that nothing less is coming from there.
Hey, Penei, just what did it mean to be able to kind of do pro day with Gabe there, and just kind of how did that come about with Cristobal inviting him to participate?
Oh yeah, to be able to share that moment with him was again another one in my memory books and something that I'll cherish when I'm old and look back onto things. But yeah, I mean, Cristobal knew, and Cristobal's like family to me. He's like another dad in my eyes. So the conversation has been made, whether it's between me and him or my father, my real father, and Cristobal. And so, yeah. And when the chance presented itself that he was going to do pro day with me, it made things a lot easier too, to kind of go throughout the process, knowing that he's kind of gone through it too, and him being there just kind of guiding me and kind of giving me little pointers on what to think and what to really just to be free-minded, to go out there and do what I do. So having him there right beside me was, again, something that I'll cherish forever.
How about that? Coach Cristobal, that's what he is, you know? That's Coach Cristobal. That's who he is. You know, Penei Sewell talking about that and what it means to have another member of his family who was not a Duck participating in Pro Day, giving him the opportunity. That's what it's all about, man. I'm glad that we can end the show on a positive note like that. Penei Sewell, good luck to him and the rest of the Ducks. So hoping to get a few more comments from some of those future pro Ducks on the show tomorrow. Also, a big Oregon baseball preview. We're going to talk to Mark Wazikowski ahead of Oregon State this weekend. Talk to you then.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby.